So, hey Tony, when did I have to ask Tony? When did they go to these new like ID badges that like are half like it's over my face, like you know where the name is? Like, hold on, I could actually hide behind the thing.
I think on yours, maybe it's really big because on mine, it's small enough where it's definitely not hiding your face.
Yeah, it's weird. So maybe I got to go to Rich so I don't, so I don't have to be over here the whole time.
Let me see.
I changed mine to include like my title and HomeBot, and it didn't take to it, but it says in my rename what it's been renamed to. So it's a weird.
I see what you're saying,
name.
actually.
Yeah, Tony, and actually it just flashed across the screen that it changed, but it didn't really change the size of it, unfortunately. So
I got it.
Smaller font? I don't know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm over on this side of the camera.
There we go.
Relationship manager. Look at that. Oh, you got to get the white background. Maybe that's the thing, Tony. We get rid of that black thing and go to whatever Rob just did.
I'm playing around with it. It's really bizarre. Let's see here.
Whatever you did was great. So
I got it.
It's fun. So now we got a bunch of people that are online. Oh, it's way better. So yeah, a bunch of people online going, they're having problems with Zoom. So too funny. All right. So we'll get everybody open the door, let everybody have a few minutes to get in. We've got over 50 people registered, so we're excited about that. And yeah, so we'll get everybody in on this nice Wednesday. Eventually we'll get our new speaker. I say new because last year when we did this presentation, we had a different HomeBot gentleman, but he's still there. But now we have Rob, so a new and better version of Grant. That's what I'm going with. There you go.
I like that.
So that's good. That's good. So Tony, I'm guessing that you figure other people may be having the same problem with HomeBot or with Zoom.
Yeah, kind of all between this week and last week, everybody who shows up late was saying that their Zoom was updating.
Yeah, apparently Zoom did some weird update because I saw like as soon as we opened the door, everybody that's probably done the update jumped through the door and then it just stopped. So now everybody's got to update their Zoom. So we might have to give them another minute or two. So yeah. Supposedly Zoom did some update where you now have to update your Zoom, and that's probably not going to be really helpful to have us get everybody in. I know it jumped as soon as we opened the door. It jumped to like 18 people and then dead stopped for like 2-3 minutes. So it's pretty funny. I think the people are finally getting that figured out. So that's good. So we're going to be talking about HomeBot today, and I'm not going to do the product any more disservice by trying to tell you guys about it. So who we have here is we have Robb Lapp from HomeBot, directly from HomeBot. And now, are you in Utah right now?
I am, yeah. So HomeBot is based in Denver, Colorado, but I work here remotely in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Nice. So also a little thing on Robb is he's actually graduated bachelor's degree in business marketing from the University of Utah, or the Utes as we know them. We were talking about that before you guys got on. Robb worked with the product before joining the company, so he's actually got experience, ironically, on both sides of the fence, both being a customer like I am and also now working and representing the company. So I'm super excited to have Robb here. And Robb, you've got a presentation, right, that you're going to be taking over the screen? Very cool.
Yep.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, I see. So we do have the chat open. I know Tony's welcomed everybody into the chat. And hang on a second. I got to move the chat over so I can still communicate. So, okay, good. And Lene is there. Happy Wednesday to you, Lene, from Northwest Indiana. Not quite as beautiful as Utah, but nonetheless, we're having a nice warm day here too, by the way, Robb. So that's good. Joe said, yes, us 18 people use Zoom more often than everybody else. So yeah, we were kidding about the fact Zoom had to make you guys update. But with that, we're going to jump into our HomeBot presentation. And Robb, I'm going to let you take it over since you've got the PowerPoint up. Oh, before I do, as the MC of this official event, any questions you guys have as we go, put them in the chat. I'll find a good spot to interrupt Rob in his presentation, get the question asked, and let's go.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. And I'll stop here and there to answer any questions as well. So thank you guys all for joining. As Rich said, my name is Rob. I'm with HomeBot. And to give you a little bit of background, let's just kind of open up the chat. How much do you know about HomeBot on a scale of 1 to 5, just so that I can make sure we hit all the points? 1 being you've never heard of us before, Rich invited you. 5 meaning you could take my job tomorrow. Awesome. 3 and a 1, use it all the time. Love it. Awesome. Well, for those like onesies, 2s, hopefully you're at a 3 or a 4. And for those 3s and 4s, hopefully you'll learn a couple new tricks today. So I'll just start by saying, what is HomeBot? HomeBot's mission is to empower consumers to build wealth through home ownership by facilitating meaningful engagement with their loan officer, as well as their real estate agent. And so that's really how HomeBot started about 7 years ago. And really, it basically started, around this stat here on your screen. And for those of us who are on the call and in the industry, this may not be a huge surprise, but when we show this to either potential homeowners or, even current homeowners, they're a little bit taken aback that a good majority of their retirement comes from their home's equity. Now, of course, we have help along the way with our 401k and our savings. If we log into any of those platforms, there's different modules and help to make sure that we're being set up for success, so that by the time we retire, we have everything that we need to enjoy the retirement that we have worked so hard to get to. But there was really nothing in the market to help with the other side of someone's portfolio, which is the biggest asset that they purchase, being their home. And so that's really why HomeBot started, was to provide that financial education so that all homeowners could really build wealth with, their home. And so really, we're here to just solve the questions of, should I sell or buy, making additional payments, or refi. It's kind of that theory of sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. And so we're really here to present the information so that they can make really great informed decisions about their home. And so that's why HomeBot started, and how we do this. And again, we brand ourselves as that Client for Life portal, but we do this through what we call a HomeBot Digest report. And so this is a report that goes out via email from our platform to all of your contacts. And we'll talk about the contact part here in a minute and that data piece. But essentially, you upload all of your contacts into HomeBot, and we send out this monthly email. It goes out every 30 days. And from there, they just need to click through that email from you, and they are taken to their report. Now, the reason why we've done it via email is we wanted to make it really easy for that homeowner or buyer to open up their report and to view all the data. So there's no username to remember. They don't have to download anything. They just need to simply click an email that comes from you into their inbox every single month, and it takes them to their report. And this is an overview of what that report looks like. Now, we send this to about 9 million homeowners on a monthly basis, and we see about a 50% engagement rate with less than a 1% unsubscribe rate. And this is something at HomeBot that we're very proud of, is the fact that people are liking it. They're sticking with it. They're coming back, asking questions to their loan officers and real estate agents for months and months to come. Again, we want to be here for them the entire time that they own that home. It's not just about closing the loan, handing them their keys, and washing your hands of it. It's really to position you as the industry expert for years to come, and so you can stay in contact with your database. So let's actually take a look at the product. So again, like I said, when you upload your contacts into HomeBot, the first thing that goes out is a welcome email. And so we treat HomeBot as an opt-out module. So we let them know that you've set them up for HomeBot. Again, it looks like it's coming from you. It's sent from our servers for deliverability purposes. You can change and customize this welcome email. It's got all of your information in here. And then best of all, it's completely free of charge. From there, they actually get their first digest report. So again, it looks like it's coming from you, and they just need to click through, see your value, and they're taken to their HomeBot report every single month. And so this is an example of what that homeowner digest report looks like. So we always want to feature you at the top. So we put your headshot, company logo, and contact information up at the very top. And then from there, the first thing that we highlight is their estimated value. Now, our AVMs come from Black Knight. They're our data service provider. So we pull all of our AVMs in from them. We actually did also recently sign a contract with CoreLogic, and CoreLogic will be also integrated sometime this quarter. Not quite sure how that's going to integrate with Black Knight and the AVMs. Our product team is still figuring that one out, but that's a little bit of context to where our data is coming from.
Hey,
No,
Rob,
yes,
Rob, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. This is
absolutely.
probably jumps ahead a little bit, but Raquel had asked if her biggest issue, she said, is entering customer data. So I don't know if she's a current subscriber to
Yeah.
HomeBot and she's having issues. So she wanted to know maybe some fixes or hacks on that. And then would HomeBot potentially link with her CRM? So
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll go over that data piece here and later in the call, but we do have ways for you to either put people in one by one, drop in a file. So if you want to export that from your CRM and drop it in, and then also too, we have a customization where you can apply, it's still in beta, but it's a Zapier webhook and you can fill that out. And if we're compatible with your CRM, hopefully our data team can integrate that and we can pull over information in real time. So we'll go over all three of those options, but that's a really great question because the data piece is really important to getting your contacts into HomeBot. So yeah, stay tuned for more. We'll go through that here in a little bit.
And then let me ask you this, what you put on the screen to get back to your presentation. So is this what we're looking at on your screen, is that the email they're getting, or once they click through, is that what they're going to see?
Yep. So they get this email from you, and when they click see your value, this is the screen that they're taken to. And this is completely mobile friendly. So whether on their mobile phone, an iPad, their desktop, they get the exact same experience. So we are very compatible for any device that they're on. Really great question. Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. So back to where our AVMs come from. One thing that we recognize at HomeBot is that AVMs don't live and breathe in the real world. So they don't know if you've remodeled, maybe your neighbor's house sold for $100,000 over asking price. So we allow you as well as the homeowner to tune their value. And we want to make sure that you and the homeowner are in the driver's seat. So if they think that their value has gone up in price, they can always adjust that value. We are in a loan officer's platform, and this is really the only difference between a loan officer platform and an agent platform. But if they are in your loan officer, so if they're in Rich's database, they can ask for an expert opinion. And this creates what we call a CMA request, where Rich can easily pass this along to you to do that CMA, so a comparative market analysis request, to make sure that what they have put in really resonates and connects to what the property is actually worth. In your database as an agent, you don't have this option because you automatically get alerted that they've tuned their value. You are the expert, so we don't have to necessarily make that request happen because it's already, in your database. But we're also going to ask why they think their value has gone up. So have they added additional bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, or have they started the remodel process and they want to let you know what they've done to their property and why that might affect the overall value. And then at the end, they get a great confetti message, and now the report is updated to that value. And again, if they tune their value, you get an alert from HomeBot letting you know that they have tuned that value. Now that it's reflected of that new amount, they can see their net worth, principal versus interest, which they can always update. We also do have a refi module. So this will be a great opportunity for Rich to help with those refinances, maybe freeing up some equity to buy another property or a vacation home investment, whatever their scenario might look like. If they were to make additional payments, what that would look like. Also, too, we have our purchasing power module. So what this does is it lets them see if it's time to buy a new home, buy an investment property. Maybe it's time to rent out their current home and buy another one. So what this does is it takes all of the data from their equity and their current mortgage payment, and it does some really high level overview adjustments for them to be able to see what the possibilities are. Again, we're here to create that education for them. But most of all, we want those conversations being driven back to you. So we've got about 50 to 60 of these direct message chat features. And if they click it, you actually get an email and a text message from HomeBot in real time, letting you know who the person is, what the question is that they have, on a great opportunity for you to pick up the phone and see how you can assist them. We also have an equity.
Rob, on that, can you enlarge that a little bit on your screen?
Yeah,
just absolutely. On my screen, and it's a little, that's perfect. Yeah, this way everybody can that's much better. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Next one is going to be a purchasing power module, or sorry, an equity module. So what this one does is it just lets them know the different options for how to use that equity. Maybe it's time to pay down some student loans, credit card debt. Everything in HomeBot is color intuitive. So we don't necessarily recommend splurging on a European vacation from a wealth perspective, but if they would like to make that experience happen, they can definitely do so. And then lastly on here, we do have an Airbnb module. And so what this one does is it will take a 1 mile radius of their current home and that address, and it will let them know the average dollar amount per night as well as nights per month for the surrounding area. So if they wanted to use their current home as a short-term rental investment property, what they can expect to make on an average monthly and yearly. And if they were to take that money and put it towards their mortgage, to see that they would save, almost $250,000 on interest and pay off their loan in 17 years is pretty impactful. I also like to point out the graph up here. So maybe it's time to work remotely or vacation in the early months, but then maybe for the holidays, they know that's when they're going to be home because there's not a lot of options for them to make some really great money. So
hey,
really
Rob,
high level. Yeah, absolutely.
Rob, I got one question that came in, and I think we kind of just to go through this, and so Joe had asked, like, on the update page, he wanted to see where they can justify their price. Is that page only available on the LO side, or is it available on the realtor side too?
It's available. This tune button appears on every single digest. So whether you're a loan officer or a agent, this appears, and you can
click tune the value. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. They click tune the value, and then that's where they can take the sliding scale up or down. As you can see here, I, as the loan officer, tuned the value, so it has my headshot here. If a homeowner does it, it has the little gear icon, so you know who is tuning their value and to what number that is. So Joe, as the agent, where would I see that? So when you log into your HomeBot account, this is, and we'll zoom out just a little bit here. This is the page that you are taken to. If my computer would load, there we go. So if we click on clients, and then here is your entire database. So you would just click into any of these, and then you would preview their digest report, which takes you to their specific report, where then you can tune the value if you need to.
So, but he can see where they tune the value too there as well, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And what the justification was. Okay.
Yep. So as they work through these questions, you actually get an alert that they have tuned their value. So if they've added like a half bath here, and maybe they've added some square footage, maybe it's now 1,200 square feet, you get an update in real time letting you know that they have tuned their value and what things they've clicked on to then reflect that new price. So that's, again, a good opportunity for you to reach out and to help them out.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
Perfect.
Let's see here. Joe says, yes, I know that, but I've never seen anything showing updates added. My guess would be, Joe, because they maybe never answered that question. So I personally have this myself, and I know I had 2 sales that were comparable in my neighborhood, and I went and made the adjustment, but I didn't answer any questions about doing anything to the house because I had just seen 2 recent sales. So I made the adjustment, but I didn't justify it necessarily because I don't think that's an option, Rob, to say that other houses in the neighborhood sold, right?
Yeah, I think there's a manual one here. Let's double check, where I think they could check other. But yeah, they might just think that their neighbor's house sold, so they want to update their own value. Again, we're here to create that conversation. So if none of these are clicked, but you see that they've tuned their value, that's a great opportunity to just pick up with the phone and say, hey, how's life? How are the kids? Any recreation you're doing, anything along those lines. And then, I noticed you tuned your value in HomeBot. If you've done any remodeling, do you need, maybe there's an appraisal that needs to be done on it. What are you hoping to do with that new value? So again, we're just here to start the conversation with the information that they provide. And if they don't provide all of that, again, it's great just to pick up the phone and see kind of what they were doing within the platform.
Yeah, perfect. And this, relative to the platform, it's really about, in my opinion, the way we use it, it's about continuing to stay engaged with our clients, because all of my clients have this. So we want to stay engaged with them, but it also generates reports, and I'm sure Rob will get to that, but where I have a reason to call, because I often hear agents say, hey, I don't call my database because what am I going to talk to them again? And I feel awkward forwarding them, or, family, occupation, recreations, dreams. I feel odd doing that, but this is a reason to call. So go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we'll get to that here in just one second. But before we do, we also understand that these are homeowners who have a home and they want to see what their wealth position looks like. But we also understand we need to get people into homes as buyers. And so they can actually come up to the top of their report here. And if they click find a home, we actually will treat that as an onboarding process. And so what that looks like is when they click that, they are asked a handful of questions. What matters most to them, what they're hoping to achieve, timeline, where they're looking, and we will report back to you when they do this process. And then they will start receiving a buyer's report. And you can actually put the buyers you're currently working with in HomeBot, and we'll talk again about that data piece here in a little bit. But once they become a buyer, they actually get another report, which is geared towards helping them find a home. So again, we highlight all of your information up here at the very top. They have their estimated price point, which they can change. They can use a calculator. And then also they can reach out to Rich to get pre-qualified so that they have a really solid amount for what they can afford. My lovely screenshot of the video, which we'll also talk about the video here in a little bit as well. I keep teasing things, but we'll get to all of the information. The first widget on the buyer's report is how the market is performing. And so what we've done here is we just want to provide a lot of transparency and set some expectations for what's going on in the market. I mean, we're still relatively in a low inventory place. There's not a ton of movement like there has been before 2020. So what we've done is we've let them know if the area that they're looking is a buyer's market or a seller's market. We also will tell them the average price point, square footage, and buying timeline. And I think the buying timeline is really crucial. And the way that we actually get that number is down here in this module here. So what we do is you can go into your settings and you can say, okay, it takes Rich and his team 2 days to pre-qualify someone. I'm sure he does it in less time than that. And then on average, it takes him and his team 28 days to underwrite the loan and to reach the closing table. But what this middle number is signifying is it's saying, okay, in 84105, it's taking the average homeowner 34 days to find a home and have that offer accepted. So ideally, if I were to get pre-qualified today, I should be in my new home around mid-April. Of course, this does vary zip code to zip code. So we just want to make sure that they're hitting those milestones along the way and making sure that they don't, have buyer's remorse or get stressed out. They can also play around with it. Maybe they're currently renting and their, rental is up at the end of April. We definitely want to make sure here in the next couple of weeks that they are pre-qualified. So again, we just want to make sure that they are staying on track and asking those questions back to you so that you can advise them properly. We also do have a purchasing power module. And so what this one really is saying is time is money. If you can make a loan work at the current interest rate, now is the time to do it. Because if interest rates do go up, that is going to affect how much you can actually afford. Now, of course, it is a little bit sad to see that they could afford, way more when interest rates were lower. But again, time is money. Buy that property now if you can make it happen, and then you can always refinance later on down the road. And then lastly, we do also highlight that Airbnb module once again. So on here, they can actually type in any address in the entire country and pull in this data. So if they are looking to buy this property as an investment property, we want to make sure that they have the information at their fingertips to make a really great informed decision of buying this property and adding it to their portfolio. Also, too, within the home buyer report, they can explore the market overall. They can view listings on our native search. They can dive into a specific zip code. And this, again, provides them a whole other level of experience. So what we've done here is we've actually allowed them to see zip code by zip code if it is a buyer's market or a seller's market. I'm trying to zoom out here so that you can see this little chart here on the bottom. Let's see here if it'll click in. Okay, there we go. So it'll say if it's a seller's market or a buyer's market based on each zip code. They can also come up here to the filter, and let's say it's time to upgrade and they want more square footage. They can see zip codes with bigger square footage on average. They're first-time home buyer, maybe they're a investor and they're a little bit more budget conscious. They can see zip codes with more affordable pieces of property. And then also too, if they are on a budget or on a timeline and they need to move sooner rather than later, they can see zip codes that are moving at a more quick pace. As you can see here, I have 8 favorited zip codes across the entire country. And so they can search anywhere. So if they're looking to relocate, buy an investment property out of state, they can definitely take that action within the platform. And then as they dive into the zip code in detail, they have all of that information at their fingertips of timeline, affordability, averages. And then also too, we've recently added native search for agents specifically within our platform. And so you have native search now built in. And I really enjoy our native search solely for the fact that it actually provides a lot of information, but it looks a little bit like a normal native search. But when they actually click on a property, let me find a good one, this one here, we will show them everything that they would see on a normal listing website. But we've also added the ability for them to gain financial insights. And so what they've done here is they can enter all of their information here, and we will then recommend this as either a smart buy, a fair buy, or a weak buy based on their overall budget. I think it's going to make me sign in because mine's a demo account, but essentially what that does is it allows them to make sure that this is a sound investment. Also within our native search as well, we prompt them to download what we call our Chrome extension. So if they are in a property, let me pull another one up here. This is where we encourage them to go to the Chrome store and pull in our Chrome extension. And if they do that, yes, Nancy, I just saw your question come through. This is connected to the MLS. So the second that a listing goes on the market, it is pulled into our native search. So everything is live and available. Yeah.
You used the word native search a couple of times already. What is a native search?
So native search is just a home search platform. So it could be a Zillow, realtor.com. It could be any of the agents' own websites. It is just a way for people to find current listings on the market. So
when they're doing this, let's say, and again, this is Utah, but we're in Chicago. So if they decide to pick 60173, is that data coming out of the MLS? Is it coming out of Zillow? Where's that data?
It's coming out of the MLS. So give me that zip code one more time.
Sure. It's 60173.
73. Perfect. There we go. Yep. So
Nicole.
Yep. So these are the current. It looks like there's just one in here because of the filters that I have. I think, let's see here. We'll reset those filters. Looks like there's a couple more that pop into here. This is coming in, and this one says it's under contract, but all of these listings are coming from Listing Hub. There where we're pulling in this data, but the MLS is live. And again, the second it goes onto the live, real estate market, whatever you want to call it. I'm not an industry pro with the jargon, but yeah, all of this is coming in from List Hub in real time.
So, and on these listings, the only contact information they're going to have goes back to the agents, correct?
Correct. Yep. Your information is listed here. We do kind of highlight the listing agent here, but we'd rather have them, because you're offering them HomeBot, we would rather have them ask questions back to you. Really great question. Awesome.
Yeah, Joe just put he just hasn't seen anything where anybody's done any updating of their values. Honestly, I don't know. I would think there's probably a very low percentage of people that actually go in and think they know more than the data that you are providing them. So it's probably extremely limited in who does that. I mean, I'm in the industry, so I felt comfortable making that adjustment based on comps that I happen to know sold in the neighborhood. So
and I think that's I think you're spot on there. And I think that happens more when maybe they saw that their neighbor's home sold for higher than they thought that their home was worth, or usually it's something that's happening within their neighborhood or their life to why they would go in and actually tune that value. But you're right, they probably trust the data because it's pretty secure. And so that's where, I think an action would have to have happened in their life for them to go in and tune the value, but it does happen, which is great to see.
So question, Nicole had a question, and I'm not sure why your ID is Nancy on my system, but that's Nicole. But anyway, if we're going to be sending these out to their potential buyers, and again, you don't have to use this system that way. This system could be used exclusively for all your closed transactions and or all your sphere of influence homeowners. But if you do use the buyer's side, Rob, the question that I want to know is, can you choose where the data comes from? In other words, I want them to go to my website, which has a link to my local board MLS. Can I choose that? Or is that just going to be geographic specific based on what you guys have access to?
Nope, you're spot on there. So you can use our home search platform, or you can go in and you can add in your own. So it's either one or the other. You can't have both. But if you go into your settings, when they click to view those listings, your website could pull up, which is an easy way for you to, drive them to your website specifically to see the listings that you would like. Now, there are pros and cons to both. If you use ours, we are able to then pull up all of the behavior data. So if they're favoriting zip codes, favoriting listings, asking questions, that all comes back to you because we can report on that because it's within our own platform. But it is nice to have your own website there linked so that they see your branding and your specific home search site.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Any other questions?
All right. No, Nicole's got that. All right. So for Joe, because he hasn't got this, I guess we went too fast originally.
No
Can we
worries.
go back in and show him specifically as an agent where he could find if his clients made that adjustment?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me get out of this screen really quick. Okay. So you do receive an alert.
Make sure we make sure this the
Yep.
font is larger so that he knows, we can see it, because I can barely see it, and I've got this huge gamer screen in here. So
You're
all right,
yeah.
cool.
So when they click that tune value and they go through those questions, it does tune that value, as you can see here. You as either a loan officer or a agent will receive information that they've tuned their value via email. So you'll receive that. But then also too, when you are logged into your HomeBot account, you can see here on your client tab and activity, you will see that they have tuned their value. So let me grab that filter really quick.
Got to make that bigger too. Sorry about that, Rob. I wish your screen would keep it that way. Every time you move, it just gets really small.
Yeah, you're fine. So I clicked on more filters here, and then we have one that says tuned home value. And when you update that, that will let you know who has tuned their value right here. This one has done a ton of actions, but she's tuned her value here. So they've adjusted their value in the digest.
So for Joe, and there's a way, so you do get there is an activity feed, and eventually we're going to go back and look at that. But to hopefully answer Joe's question on this, you can go into your activity feed and specifically search for just people that tuned your value, but you are also going to get an email as soon as they do tune their value. So you're going to get that notification as well.
Yep. And he says added the number of bedrooms, etc. So when they have tuned their value, let's see here. My email is being a little bit slow, but you get an email that says everything that they've done. So if they've adjusted the value and then they think they've added bedrooms, bathrooms, that remodel, you get an email with all of those things that they've clicked through. So that's where that information appears. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Email.
And go back, if you don't mind, go back to the activity feed, because this is something that I've talked to the agents about. And again, I apologize, Rob, if you were going to get to this, but I think this is really where a lot of the value to this system is because in addition to the fact that, hey, today's my day to call my clients. Gee, what am I going to call them about? What am I going to actually discuss with them? Who am I going to call? Well, I can go into this list, and I noticed that, and this is a small list because mine is pretty substantial as far as how many we send and everything else, and the open rates. But I can go into this list and see who's jumped in and exactly what they've done. And if and it gives me an opportunity to engage with them and say, hey, I know you love this product that we have. We love it too. I saw that you were kind of messing around with your value. And what's going on with your house? Did you make some changes? Somebody in the neighborhood sell, whatever? Or I saw you kind of looking around in a different zip code. I can use this activity feed as a reason to connect with my clients. And even if I miss them, I could send them a real text. Hey, saw that you were looking. Is anything we can help you out with? So I think there's a lot of value to this.
Yep, absolutely. And I think Joe had one last piece of his question. So you cannot see that in your site. So yes, you can. It doesn't necessarily appear here of like they've added additional bedrooms or bathrooms, but if you click into any of these clients, you'll be taken to their profile here and you'll see that beds, bathrooms, total square foot. These were all the numbers that I just made up. So that is updated within here. And you can see here, that they have requested that CMA, and then they've raised their home by $30,000. And this is a full history of everything that homeowner has done. And then those adjustments have been made in their home profile right here.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
So you can see it on the site, Joe.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And you're spot on, Rich. And I think that's really where there's a lot of value within the platform is this activity feed. So of course, we want to let you know what's happening within your, your database's reports. I like to point out these filters as well. This motivated to sell filter is going to pull in anyone who has owned their home for at least 2 years or more. They have some decent equity, and then they've also played around with the sell module. So if you want to filter by people who might be interested in selling, you can do that. Rich, you have one for refinances, which is kind of nice. You can filter by just active buyers. So if you put your buyers in here and you want to know just who is being active on the buy side of the platform. And again, I really like to point out these more filters. This self-added as buyer, that's somebody, again, who's gone to the top of their homeowner report and started the buyer onboarding process. So a lot of different ways you can filter your database and use it to make a really great call list. The other piece of this that I really like is if you come up here to the very top, you're in clients, and then you navigate over to manage. This is where we will highlight all of your homeowners and all of your buyers. And so I like to point this one out. Maybe it's time to make a call list based on equity. So if you click equity twice, this will filter everybody highest equity to lowest equity. And maybe this is something where you want to call Nancy and you want to say, hey, Nancy, maybe it's time we reach out to Rich and see if he can get you pre-qualified. Did you know that you can borrow against your home's equity to buy that vacation home you've always been talking about? Or, hey, Chris, maybe it's time to borrow against that equity to buy that investment property you've been talking about. So really great information here for you to really narrow down some great conversations. On the buyer side, you might want to be tuned into if they have a move date in mind, the zip codes that they're searching within. Maybe you have some new listings in this zip code that you want to send out to them. And also to what their estimated price point is. So lots of different ways to use the platform to generate some good conversations. So
hey, Rob,
yeah,
I want to, pardon me for interrupting, but I wanted to get to, so, your clients are in the HomeBot product and they click a couple of things that generate some emails to you and you want to follow up with them. Is there a script or something that you use so that you don't make it uncomfortable for the client that you're actually watching what they're doing on the tool? Like I think I've got that is kind of even my own team is like, well, this is kind of weird because I'm calling them because I know they were in the tool. And is it a little big brother-ish where, hey, I'm just looking over their shoulder, seeing what they're doing. So what's your thought process and or scripting around that?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have any questions specifically about any action that's being taken place within the database, view the home listing insights on the listing site, you can click into any of these articles messaged you on the buyers app. These will take you to our help center, and that will provide you some scripting on how they are using it and what questions they're asking. Now, of course, it is a little bit big brother-y or dead on there of, hey, you were in HomeBot and I saw you clicked on a button. Like that's a little bit awkward, but I think that's where you just call and you have a conversation of, again, the Ford model of the friends, occupation, recreation, dreams. But then you can also work in there, how is HomeBot treating you? Are you liking it? Do you have any questions about the platform that I can help you answer? Or do you have any questions about your home in general? So it's a conversation starter. I would kind of ease into it. I wouldn't say, hey, I saw you clicked on a button 6 minutes ago. I would, start with a general conversation and just check in and see how HomeBot's treating them. And if they have any questions specific to the platform. So you could say, I noticed you opened your email. I mean, that's pretty standard as far as what different platforms to report on. Hey, I saw you opened my email from HomeBot. Do you have any questions? I mean, that's a little bit easier of a conversation starter for sure.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd want my people doing that. I think the better approach is like, I think in my opinion, when I've coached my team, and I noticed there's a team, Christine was talking about a team question, and I'll get to that in a second. But, I've coached my team. It's, hey, we have this great service that we've been providing you, HomeBot. What do you think? How do you like it? And, so that they know that, we're aware of the service and it's one of our services and everything. And by the way, we did notice last week you were kind of, looking around at another zip code is there anything I can help you out with that? So that's a soft approach in the sense that, hey, how do you like it? And we noticed that you were doing some things rather than just jump right into it. So let's see. Christine says, I have a team of agents that I control the database, but want them using the system to find leads to call. Can I assign certain leads to an agent on my team? I'm going to let you answer that, but I've got an approach to that too. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So that one is a little bit tricky. We aren't necessarily set up to transfer contacts from one account to another, so on and so forth. So if you have a team, I would set your account up as a team account, and I would have everything come into the team account. And so the ways that you could do that is by coming up here to your account and manage profile and settings. And I would do maybe a team photo here, team email address. Maybe for mine, I would put, the Lapp and then team here. And then I would save that and make this more of a team feel. Now, as far as us assigning certain contacts to certain agents on the team, that is a little bit difficult because, again, we're not a full CRM. We don't have all of those capabilities. But one thing you could do within the platform is you can leave notes. And so if you're in here and you come into, Nancy's account, you technically could maybe set up this as a kind of a safety thing. Is you can have this notes for Nancy, and these are all internal notes. Nancy will never see these, but this is where you could put in, any notes that you want of maybe like the REA is going to be John, and he's going to have this contact. So we're going to just save that note. And then if I log in here and I notice that they have already assigned someone, or you've already assigned a person on your team to handle this person, that's how you could kind of assign it over to them.
And then Rob, that note always stays in the top when you're in the client. So that's always, okay, good. So yep. Nancy, okay, so can internal notes be filtered to find a certain contact? So maybe she's saying, could you, like, if you had John assigned to whatever, let's say a third of the leads, can they sort by that in through the notes?
I don't think so. I don't think that there is a way. The only big filters here would be, let me see here. Maybe if we did John's minutes, that probably is not going to come up with anything though. Yeah, unfortunately, there's no way for us to do that. But that's a really great product feedback. I'm going to actually write that one down because it would be a really great way to be able to filter by the notes. I think the notes is a little bit hidden because, again, we're not a CRM, so there's not a lot of manual work you have to do within the platform, but I'm going to write that one down. Filter.
And then Christine made another comment. I don't know, unfortunately, Christine, sorry, I don't know if it was a question or statement, but she had mentioned that, hold on, my chat is, there we go. She had mentioned that she saw a feature that said assign and thought that that's what could be used. What's the assign feature for?
Yeah, and this is, again, we're in a loan officer's platform, so they can assign a lead over to an agent. And this is where we'll talk through the co-branding. So let's say that, again, that client went in, they requested a CMA request, and they're in Rich's platform. He can actually come over here to need CMA. And this is where he can assign that to an agent. Now, of course, I've used mine for a bunch of different demos, but essentially for Dennis, if Dennis has requested that, and let's say that he has worked with one of the agents that Rich has co-sponsored, he can easily assign that over. And this would then pass that lead off to the real estate agent for them to complete that CMA request. So that's probably where you're cool. Assign it to. Can I assign an agent? Let's see, can I lead agent assign a contact to a team? So this one is just on the loan officer side for them to pass contacts over to any of their co-sponsored agents.
Yeah, Christine, that goes back to, I think, what you were talking about is being able to assign to team members on your team. And it's something I think Rob will put into the product team to say, hey, if we are going to have a team that's using this, they can do that. So good stuff. All right. Sorry, Rob, we digress. Please continue.
You're totally fine. I love it. These are great conversations. So I love it. But yeah, let's jump into the co-sponsoring, because again, that's one of the big reasons why we invited you, or Rich invited you to this call. And so the way that we treat co-branding within HomeBot is Rich has his login, his database, and everything on his side. When he co-sponsors you as an agent, you have your own login, your own database, and your own platform. But we want to make sure that it's co-branded for all of your homeowners and potential buyers. So when you upload your database into HomeBot as an agent, your information will always appear at the very top of your digest reports because they're your contact, they know you. But because you have been co-sponsored by Rich, all of his information will appear on any finance related section within the platform. Now, we don't necessarily share names, contact, all of that information with Rich right off the bat. He doesn't have a way to go into his platform and see all of your contacts. He can only see them when they reach out. So if they were to click, what would my rate be? Both you as an agent and Rich would get an alert letting you know who that person is, what the question is, and that's when Rich can start in and have that conversation. So your database is pretty much protected until they reach out, which is really nice to be able to see. This is kind of nice because one, you don't have to answer finance related questions anymore. You don't have to talk about products, rates, terms. You have Rich here to do that. And then it's also nice that you put a trusted advisor in front of your database that can answer those questions. So it provides a level of trust that you trust Rich enough with him and his team and his business that you are comfortable enough to refer business over to him, and vice versa. He can always, again, refer that business over to you with those CMAs. So this is a really great way to create a cohesive team for those homeowners and buyers so that they can ask you the specific agent questions and they can ask Rich any lender specific questions here. So that's a little bit of how the co-branding works. Do we have any questions about the co-branding or any other things that we want to talk about before we talk about some additional features within the platform?
Yeah, and again, this may lead into the additional features, but do the the advantages of co-sponsoring, is there I thought when I talked to you about this before, with us being co-sponsored, they have additional modules that are available to them?
Yeah, so they can do HomeBot on your own. If you wanted to do HomeBot without being co-sponsored, you really only get the homeowner digest report, and it's twice as much. But being co-sponsored by Rich, you would unlock that buyer side, which is going to create more listings for you. You can add in your own website to connect them to for listings. You unlock video features, which we'll go through here in a second. Again, best of all, you don't have to answer those finance related questions. And then really, we're here just to create that cohesive team between the loan officer and the real estate agent. So yeah, you can do HomeBot on your own, but we really do encourage you to do it with Rich for all of the added benefits, and it's less money, which is even better. So
yeah, way less money. That's good.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was the price, so that's good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about those additional features. So one of the biggest features that I like to highlight are these share pages. So I just came up here to share, and then they have these dedicated websites in here for you. And these are websites for you to generate either homeowner leads or buyer leads. And the way that these work is it's a dedicated website that has all of your branding on it. Make this a little bit bigger for you. So it has all of your information here. This URL will never change. And this is something where they can enter their own street address and then preview their report. And then once they give their email address, it would actually unlock the rest of this report, which is nice for them to be able to do. A ton of different ways you can use these pages. You could use it as a hyperlink in your email signature. You could post it on social media. I really advise for agents to use it as a check-in at open houses. Have both the homeowner lead page and the buyer lead page up on an iPad and have people check in. For those nosy neighbors who have no interest in buying the home, get them in on the homeowner side, let them see their own value in their own report. And then for those true buyers, definitely get them in on the buyer side. You can also turn it into a QR code. So if you want to take this website, and actually Google Chrome recently added this to where if you use this up arrow, you can actually create a QR code specific for this website. So if you're doing an open house flyer, door hanger, mailer, any printed materials, you can download this Chrome extension, or not download the QR code, and use that on printed materials to navigate people back to this website to enter their information to receive their report. So this is a really great way to do some really great lead generation with the platform as well. Also, too, we have the ability for you to add in some additional experiences with video. So the first one I like to point out is in customizations and coming down here to video. These are all videos that are embedded throughout the experience. So you probably saw that one pop up on the pre-qual and a few other places. These are just ones that enhance, again, the overall experience. So for the homeowner intro, this would be a video that would go out on the bottom right-hand corner on the very first digest report that goes out. You can record and store it for YouTube for free, or if you use BombBomb, Pitch, or Wistia, you can also use any of those platforms. I am somebody who is not video ready. I find video a little bit intimidating. So what I did is I actually came up to my account here, came to our help center, and in our help center, if you type in the word script here, this will actually provide you all of the scripting ideas. So again, that homeowner intro video will show you how it plays into the overall experience. We do provide you some scripting ideas. And then Grant, who is my boss, who has worked with Rich in the past, does a really great video example. So I think I actually wrote Grant's video down word for word and read it off of a document until it sounded natural, because Grant's just that good. So if you are nervous about video, this might be a way to start to, dip your toes in to see if it's something that you want to introduce into your business plan this year. Also, too, within customizations, you have a video email section here. And so what this one does is it allows you to send an additional video up to 1 time per week to all of your homeowners or all of your buyers. And then for Rich, he does have an opportunity for refinance. But this works the exact same way, where you would record that video, you would drop it in, and it would go out to everyone who is subscribed as a homeowner within your database. So you could talk about, maybe a new community that's being built, maybe some new listings, a market update, whatever you want to do. Maybe you're partnering with Rich to do a first-time homebuyer seminar, and it's going to be Thursday at 4 o'clock at your office, and you want to promote that to all of your past database to see if they know anybody who is in the market for the very first time, and you want to let them know when that seminar is going to be. The one thing I will note is if you do use YouTube, the videos do need to be at least 60 seconds long. That's just a YouTube requirement. And then also note here that these go out over the next 7 days. So that's why you can only do it up to 1 time per week. So I just be aware of not saying things like have a great weekend or happy Valentine's Day if the 7-day window is going to go beyond whatever you're stating in that video. So again, those homeowner report, buyer report, those will go out on a 30-day cadence, give or take a few days. This is just an additional way for you to integrate and utilize the platform. I know Christine had a video question about BombBomb specifically. So that is a really great question. If you come up here to customizations and you do have a BombBomb account, you can connect it into our platform, and it makes doing some of these video activities a little bit easier, because you would just drop in that embedded code from BombBomb when you record it on their platform. But also with BombBomb, you do get an added benefit of one-to-one email communication. So if I wanted to reach out to Nancy, what I can do is I can click into her digest report. And when that BombBomb connection is connected, you'll see this little record button here. And once I click that BombBomb integration would be connected, I can then talk through any of the report. I can share my screen. Maybe it's time to talk about how to use, this net worth, or how to use the equity that she has. And I can save this, and then I can send it out all via the BombBomb integration. I've had, real estate agents and loan officers say, I'm going to pull everybody who I helped get into a home last February, and I'm going to do a yearly update, a mortgage consultation, and see if they have any questions, and do 10 per week or whatever the case might be there. So really great benefit to using video, especially BombBomb, for that one-to-one communication. So
that's awesome.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Yeah, okay. Great question, and great. That's a really cool tool. I didn't know about some of the video stuff too, so that's I'm excited. We don't use BombBomb, unfortunately, so we'll be coming in through YouTube, but that's exciting. We're actually going to be able to make ours even better. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So really quickly, it looks like Marcia had a question about, can you adjust the background on HomeBot? So at this point, unfortunately, we are just that black, gray, and pink. We are looking at some white labeling options. I don't think we're quite there yet, but we understand that we want it to be more in your branding rather than our branding. So we've developed what we're calling Powered by HomeBot. That hopefully will have more information throughout this year on what our product team is doing with that. But unfortunately for now, it's just the black, the grays, and the pinks, but more to come on that hopefully soon. So
Rob, I want to comment on that too, because I actually, kind of like Marcia, I also saw, I saw these color schemes and I was like, ooh, like it's very different, obviously, with the pinks and the blacks, and then even the font in white. That's actually one of my wife's pet peeves, is white font on black background. So it is kind of funny. But that all being said, I had a client when we first started getting involved with HomeBot. I had a client who literally had a master's in marketing, and she was working for a Fortune 500 company in their marketing department. And when we shared this product with her, she actually unsolicitedly, she came back to me. She goes, the color schemes and everything for that is brilliant. She goes, that's whoever did that knew what they were doing, blah, blah, blah. So, and besides the fact, if you guys are still over a 50% open rate, obviously there's not too many people that are put off by the colors, but I do agree being able to brand them in your own company colors, certainly is going to give you a lot of power. So that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, I think what that will look like is I think it will be a white background with black text, which is a little bit more easy to read, Christine. And then I think you can pick like one or two of your own company colors to be highlighted throughout the different sections. So I think that's on the roadmap. Hopefully we see more details of that soon.
That's good. One other thing I wanted, so Christine, I think we kind of answered this, but just to make sure, will only the BombBomb video show or also the HomeBot screen during the video? I think both are there, correct?
Yep, you can do either or. So when you come into here, let me get out of this guy really quick. Let me go back into this. So you can do just your face and your information on the screen, or when you click in to hit record, you can use the screen recorder from BombBomb as well, and that will record this screen. So if you wanted to scroll through it and talk about their estimated value or a specific module, then that would appear within the video. Or if you don't use the screen recorder, when the video is sent out to them, they can click into their report from that email, listen to your video, and then go through their own report, which is really great to be able to do. So.
Okay, cool. Any talk to give option that the HomeBot is fully branded to seem like it's coming from the agent only? I think that's what we were talking about, color schemes and things of that nature, right?
Yeah, and it does look like it's coming from you, even when you are co-branded with Rich, because it is your database and they know you. If you didn't want Rich on there, you could do it on your own. But again, it's going to be twice as much and way less features. So it's really great to have him just highlighted in the different sections within your database. So yeah, awesome. So really quickly, I know we're almost out of time, so I just want to go over pricing and how to get everything started. So this is just a really quick snapshot of why you need HomeBot essentially. And you probably all are aware of this, but the National Board of Realtors releases information year after year of where current buyers are coming from. And they've let us know consecutively over about the past decade that about 60% of buyers already own a home. So why not stay in contact with the people who you've helped in the past? But we also want to be here to create new listing leads for you as well. We want that sticky website so that they are staying in a one-stop shop, asking questions back to you. We don't want them getting Zillowed. We don't want them Googling their way out of your pipeline and into your competition. And also, too, we want you to be able to generate leads with HomeBot as well. So those open houses, door knocking, farming, listing presentations, all of this is available within HomeBot. Now, cost super affordable. I mean, if you think of Wailopo, Boomtown, Zillow marketing with Rich, those can be thousands of dollars for each of you every single month. And it's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. Whereas with HomeBot, $25 for you. Rich also pays his own $25 to co-sponsor you. You get your own client database. There's no contact count sharing there. He has his own setup. You would have yours. It does come with your first 500 contacts. If you want more than 500, you would just buy them in a $10 bucket for an additional 500. So for 1,000 contacts in HomeBot, it would be $35 per month. If you're not sure about HomeBot and you want to try it out, we do offer what we call freemium. So Rich can send you an invite and you can sign up for a freemium account. Really, the biggest limitation here is you can only put up to 25 contacts in your account. So if you want to try it out for a couple of months, maybe put some friends, family members, put yourself into HomeBot, maybe put a couple of clients you're working with, definitely you have that option. This never expires. But I would say the more rate of return of putting people into HomeBot, the more you're going to be able to get out of HomeBot. And then really quickly, I'll just put this up here on the screen. So Rich will send you an invite. Just use Robb, so ROBB50. This will waive your setup fee. It's $50, but we want to definitely save you that money since you've listened to us talk for the past hour. So just ROBB50. Thanks, Tony, for putting that in the chat. And then really last, I think the last thing we need to talk about really quickly is how do you get your data into HomeBot? Because I know we haven't quite covered that. So when you are in your platform, let me go back here, hopefully closing a couple of these tabs will make it a little bit faster. When you're in clients, you'll see this add client tab. Now, again, you can put them in one by one, first name, last name, email. We do also send HomeBot in English or Spanish, so that's kind of a nice benefit for Spanish-speaking consumers. If you have their home details, all you need is their street address and their zip code. We will pull in the loan detail from public record. Or if you're working with a buyer, you can enter a couple zip codes that they're interested in, and then that estimated price point. If they're pre-qualified with Rich, you can also enter that information. Even easier, you can do it in bulk. So maybe a good rule of thumb would be to set a reminder the first Tuesday of every month to pull the past 30 days and pull that from your CRM and drop it in. Again, first name, last name, email, street address, and zip code. You'll drop in that file. We do have some templates for you. Buyers, it's even easier. We just need their basic contact information. And then from here, we'll upload it into your account. But also too, I did mention that Zapier webhook. So we are in beta for it. It is in customizations, but you can click through on the Zapier request early access. This will send you a form. We'll make sure it's compatible with the CRM that you are currently using to pull that in. So this will go to someone on our data team and they'll work through that with you. As far as pulling that report as well of your contacts, if you come up here to Help Center and type in the word CRM, we will actually give you assistance on how to pull the data from the top CRMs within the industry. So if you use like a Salesforce or a Domo, we will show you how to build that report to just drop in every single month, every single week, whatever cadence we decide on. You also will be happy to hear that we will scrub for duplicates. So if you have a contact list and you pull that list again, but only 5 new added people are on that list, we will only add those 5. We'll scrub it and make sure that we're not entering duplicates into the platform. So yeah.
Hey, Rob, we have a question.
Everything. Yeah, absolutely. What?
Sorry, buddy. We have a question. I want to take care of Nicole. Is there training modules on the site too? So once you become a customer and like you got a question, do you guys have video training or anything like that embedded in the site? It's kind of a planted question because I kind of know you do. So
yeah, absolutely. I love that question. So we do have our full help center. You also do have this little pink chat bubble here where you can search our help center for articles, or if you want to talk to somebody, this isn't a live chat, but if you have a question, you can always enter that. It will go to somebody on our customer success team and they'll get back within a few hours. You can always reach out to me. And then also too, once you do sign up, you'll go through our onboarding marketing campaign, and that will give you some options to take some live courses with Erica, our customer training manager. She does a deep dive specifically for only agents, and it's about video specifically. And so those she hosts, every single week, and you can sign up for those as well. So you've got me, you've got our chat feature, you've got our help center, and then you also have Erica to help get you all acquainted with HomeBot. I know this was a ton of information, so I don't expect you to retain it all on the first go of me talking very fast. But yeah, if you have any questions, I will put my information in the chat as well, so you can call me or email me at any point in time. But yeah, thank you guys so much for letting me, talk to you for about the past hour or so. Rich, I got
a couple things to close out. So a couple invites for you guys. You guys know we do a monthly lunch and learn. Our next lunch and learn is going to be March 21st. Tony has actually put a link in already in the chat to register. That lunch and learn is going to be everything you needed to know about renovation lending. And the renovation lending, I think what I find cool about that is that there's renovation lending that we can do to help out promote a property you might have as a listing. And then certainly renovation lending that's going to give your buyers a little bit more product to look at because you might find a property out there that says, hey, cash only because, you know, this thing's just beat up, where you can use renovation lending to go ahead and buy that property, finance the repairs into the mortgage, and now show your client in a tight inventory market, show your client a property they wouldn't normally have had access to without renovation money. And we do a lot of it here within the company. So it's a really great class. We give this class every year. So that's going to be March 21st. Tonight, by the way, we do have a class. So one of our goals here at CrossCountry and on the Kimball team, of course, is to make sure that we're giving back to our clients and that we're adding value. That's a big theme for us this year. And in doing so, we have a class tonight called the budgeting class. So we take our homeowners and or our prospective buyers through just the use of a simple form that they could use to track the budget, watch for things that they can kind of keep an eye out. We're not here to tell them not to go buy a $17 cup of coffee. I mean, we're not here to talk about that. What it really is amounts to tracking your expenses and having a place to do that, and why we would do that. So that class is tonight, 5:30 to 6:30, and that is, of course, via Zoom. Let's see here. Tony's put in a link for the renovation class. We got Robb's contact information. Christine said thanks. Joni said thanks for lunch. We got the registration for the class tonight. Robb, great job, by the way. So for sure, you definitely got, don't worry about Grant. So I don't even know who that guy is anymore. So you did a great job with him. Anybody else that has any questions about HomeBot or partnering, please reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to talk to you about that. I will tell you this, we have generated just in the last 2 weeks, we had one client who raised their hand and said, hey, I'm ready to sell my house right now. So we generated a listing directly from HomeBot. He never emailed us. He never called us. He raised his hand in HomeBot and said, I need to sell my house right now. Came to us instead of going to his agent. So we, of course, connected him. But the point of the matter is, and that agent, by the way, wasn't using HomeBot. So we were able to connect them to an agent. So anyway, those are some good things. Any other questions? That's right, Grant too. Good job, Tony. All right, perfect, guys. Thank you very much for attending. Grant, thanks for taking care of lunch. By the way, Grant did take care of lunch for you guys. I'm not Grant, but Robb took care of lunch for you guys, most of the lunches. But anyway, thanks again, buddy. I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks. You guys have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we'll chat soon.
Bye. Take care.
Have a good one. Bye.